Hey there, welcome to Hermit Haven. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jackie. We're so excited to invite you into our safe space. Hermit Haven is like a cozy little hideout where we can celebrate being confident in ourselves as we find happiness in quiet moments.
So grab your favorite blanket and your favorite drink, and let's dive into today's episode.
Hi, welcome back to Hermit Haven. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Ashley. We're so excited to have you this week. We're going to be chit-chatting about not filling your friendships with gossip, which I think in general, like not filling your environment with gossip, honestly, right? And I think this is such a hard thing because sometimes we just gossip and not realize it because that's just a common interest sometimes. Like we are like, oh, I don't know what to talk about with this person. Let me talk about this other person, right? I mean, it's capitalized too on the TV, right? We have all these reality TV shows that are like, oh my God, did you see what she did? So I feel that this is something that unfortunately just happens because we don't sometimes know how to not, right? So I feel like it's finding the opposite.
Yeah, I think sometimes we just do it, like you said, unknowingly. Like you're just chatting it up just to chat it up. And it's not even really always negative. We're not just talking about negative gossip because, like, obviously it's not nice to say mean things about other people. But sometimes it's just talking about something that happened to someone. And it's just like you're trying to sometimes fill the space or relate to the person and like
Mhm.
fill that gap of what they're talking about and just like relate to it. And you're just trying to like find a puzzle piece to fit in there. But anytime that you're kind of bringing someone else in a conversation when they're not there, maybe not like the best idea. And I know sometimes we think, and maybe if it's like your super close bestest friend that you're like, I need your advice, this is what's going on, could be a totally different situation. But I think most of the time when it's that kind of a thing and there's like an issue that has happened, you just like hyper fixate on the situation and you just keep talking about it and talking about it because like it feels almost like good to talk about it, but also like it's not helping at all. Like there's literally nothing that is, we think like by venting that it's going to like help something. And it just kind of just keeps your mind in that moment. Like you can't move past it because you're just continually, I know that was like a lot of things. I'm just like, it's all spewing from my brain, but you know what I mean? You just kind of like stay in that moment and you can't get past it because you're just continually talking about the thing that happened. And it sucks to just be like, I have to just stop, not discuss it and try to move on, but like that's the best thing for you.
I think there's two things to talk about with what you're talking about is it's other people's news. So like if let's say something good happened to you and then telling like our mutual friend before you did, that's like a form of gossip too in a way if you want to say. I think that's like not okay either. Like it's your your place to say these things. I think also another thing that you're saying is, right, like you don't know what else to talk about. So you're kind of like filling in these things. This is something you need to work on. You're being bothered by like a situation with someone and you're like trying to like vent to someone else about it, which we all do. Let's be honest. Maybe
Yep.
that's because you don't know how to handle your feelings yourself, so you're going to someone else to help you handle your feelings. But in reality, hard. It's so
Yeah.
hard because you have to have that one friend you're able to go and vent to, but like at the same point, does it become drama? Does it become gossip when someone takes what you say and you're just going to an event, right? And now they take what you say and they turn it around and they twist it and they do all these other things with it.
Thing is, we as friends want to take that like hurt or whatever you're feeling from you, but like we can't. Like I can listen to you all day long talk about the situation with this person that happened and I know that it was so frustrating and I know that we just want support. We just want someone to be like it's going to be okay. And yeah, sometimes you do need someone to be like it's going to be okay because your brain is just like but
Yeah.
also it doesn't help the person you're telling. It just brings them down. Do you know what I mean? It brings them to
Mhm.
a negative level with you. It's such a tricky line to it's so hard.
I think
It's
too,
really
this
hard.
is a good, like, again, going back to like boundaries in the sense, like, what boundaries are there in the sense where like can you tell like if someone's gossiping to you, right? You can right sometimes you just want to be that friend and listen, but you also have to like be like I don't really want to listen. But also like sometimes we don't know. Like I feel like me and you we've matured over the years. Like we might have gossiped at one point and didn't realize it, right? So like it's crazy to think about this like high school girl that probably did gossip and now I'm like an adult and I'm like I just don't care, right? Like I really just don't care, right? But it is fun. That's why we like watch reality TV show. That's like we watch movies, right? So we have something to talk about a person. But really it's about like having those conversational swaps, right? And so instead of being like, did you hear about blah, 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 blah? It's more like, how are you really doing? Right? Like, it's
Yeah.
really talking to the person, it's from, I don't know, like, instead of talking about the drama, like, oh my God, can you believe so and so and this and that? It's that being like, I am thinking about how Hermit Haven is going to be this amazing podcast and we're going to travel and like, how that conversation can change, right? But again, it's not knowing what to say sometimes in a conversation with someone else, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think sometimes we need others to speak up. So, like, if I was gossiping about someone, like, I would hope you would say something and be like, hey, you're like, speaking on good about someone, like, hey, that's not okay. And I think
Yeah.
too, something like we're talking about friendships, but like, let's be honest, like, I definitely been that person where I gossiped at work because it was easier to gossip that because I was the common interest than it was to find common interest. So I think then it's working on our social skills. How does that look like, right? Like, how
Yeah.
can I be more sociable? And maybe that's honestly going back to getting off our phones, finding hobbies, finding things that like could be a common interest. That's not just, did you see the latest trend on TikTok?
I feel like a really bad memory. I feel like it's really hard for me to remember a lot. And that's another really hard part of gossiping about a situation that happened because memory isn't really memory, it's just recalling a situation. And so you're recalling it, but you don't always have all the pieces together of exactly how it happened and what everyone said. And so whenever someone is talking to me about a situation that happened, I know in my brain, like I'm taking it with a grain of salt because I wasn't there. So I didn't hear the inflection in someone's voice. I didn't hear the exact words that were said. I didn't hear like, the whole thing. And so, but not everyone thinks that way. And so when we hear something, we're like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I want to stay away from that person because they're so mean. But it could have just been like a totally wrong situation and they just recalled it differently because of their perception and what mood they were feeling that day. Like all of this affects it. And we're not at all saying that we don't gossip because it's just like a human, you just do it without even realizing it. But in my intentions this year, what did I say? My identity. I wrote like some things for like my 2026 identity. And one of them was to not gossip. I'm not going to say I haven't done it because that would be a lie, but I'm working on not talking about situations because it, like I said, it doesn't really help anything. But also, being unbothered was one of my things
Oh
too. Like
yeah.
I'm gonna be an unbothered queen, and I thought about that the other day, and I was like, Jackie, well, I've done a pretty good job. I feel like this year of it, but part of not gossiping is being unbothered. Like a situation happens, and you're just like, is
It
what
is what it
it is.
is.
Like
Yeah.
moving along, unbothered, and it's not always easy to do. It's you really have to work on it. I'm not perfect at it, but that sense of like being unbothered is so freeing. And we've talked about that in, I think, past episode. And so it just is really helpful when you are unbothered to just you don't gossip as much because you really don't care as much.
Right. No, it's true. And I think too, like going back to like the beginning of this whole conversation is what is, gossip versus venting, right? Like it
Yeah.
is healthy and it is natural to say, hey, I need your support in this situation. What is your opinion? What is your advice? Versus, oh my God, like, can you believe this person? Like, I can't believe they did this, right? They're so crazy. Like, there is that difference. And I think we need to understand that there's that difference. Like, it's okay to go to your friend and be like, hey, I need your advice. I need your opinion. I just need to vent to you. Versus, I can't believe this person did this thing. Can you believe they're this crazy? Or can you believe that they're that angry? Or, I can't believe they would do this thing because they did XYZ. Or maybe they are doing this. Like, this is my theory about this,
Yeah.
right? Like, we should be going to people. And again, then this goes from, okay, we're not gossiping. What else are we filling our relationships with? Like, what are we filling our friendships with, right? Because gossiping is easy. Again, it's easy to go, I can't believe. And usually it's when you meet someone in a mutual place and instead of like finding something else to talk about, you just gossip about the thing. Or that's like, I feel like the equivalent of gossiping could be like talking about like history facts of like a place. Like, let's say you meet at like Disney. So now you're
Yeah.
just like nerding out about Disney facts because you don't know what else to talk about, right? So then is that the type of friendship you want, even if you're not gossiping? Right? If
Yeah.
you can't fill the space with other things, is that the friendship for you?
Yeah. I think even venting can be really dangerous because even though we're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I was just venting." Well, if you're venting, you're first of all just dumping on someone else, which I'm not saying I haven't done because I have. But you're just dumping on someone else. And so how you were saying it is like asking for advice. And I feel like that's totally different from
Mhm.
venting. And when you're asking for advice, if that's what you think you're doing, then you have to be willing to take criticism. So you have to be willing to say, this is a situation that happened. This is how I remember it happening. Like what could have happened different? Or, you have to be looking for the criticism in order to be getting advice. And so, but I feel like most people aren't doing that. They're just wanting someone to be like, it's okay, sweetie, you're fine.
You're doing great.
Yeah, I mean,
Da-da-da.
you can even ask for that support without telling someone. Be like, I don't want to dump on you everything that happened today. I just need someone to lift me up.
Yeah. I mean, you
You
can ask too, like, hey, is this something I can come to you with? Like, I'm
know?
having trouble with this. You seem like you would be a good person. Can I ask you for your support? But a lot of times, like, I think a lot of times we gossip is because we don't spend time with ourselves. Like,
Yeah,
we're not journaling, we're not doing affirmations, we're not like entertaining ourselves. Like, we're bored. We don't know what else to do, right? Like,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
so many times it's like, okay, well, are you handling it with like when you are in a argument with someone, instead of like going to someone else about the argument, are you like sitting down and be like, what could I have done different? What did really bug me? Like, are you really handling the situation with yourself first? Like, you are like, the problem is with you because you're the one that's gossiping, not with the other person. Right? Like, they might have done something that's terrible in your opinion, right? But if you're not dealing with how you truly feel, because what you're feeling might be coming from you and not from them. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. I think we also need to talk about like gossiping about ourselves.
Mhm.
Like I talked to Ashley about this lately. I think I did, or did I just say it in my head that I need to like pull back? I feel like I was talking about I talked
Mhm.
about everything, but I just feel like lately I've been just like giving too much of what I'm doing, and I feel like a lot of it is for external validation. Like when I get in a really like anxious mode or I just feel off or whatever, like I look for other people and I'm like, "Oh, this is what I did today," so that someone could be like, "Oh, that's awesome." And that's fine, like nothing wrong with getting support, but sometimes I feel like I'm giving too much. Like I'm telling too much, especially if it involves, I guess, someone else. But I'm saying things that like just are about your feelings and your what's going on. And it's okay to, like I said, talk to someone, but I just feel like we don't need to tell everyone everything. That's why I love journaling, or doing a hobby, something that you can get it out. Like I just feel like you need to just get it out, or even just like meditation and deep thought and just thinking it out, thinking it through, rather than having to be like, I need to tell Ashley everything in my day, which is something that I used to do, especially when I was in like grief trauma land. I was telling a couple friends like every thought I was thinking. And I think back and I'm like, oh my gosh, thank the Lord, they're so sweet. But my gosh, that was way too much, like way too much. And, at that point, that's when you need to like seek therapy help or like help, like professional help if you feel like you have to tell everyone everything all the time.
I think, yeah. I mean, and again, it's you have to become your own friend first. And so the way
Yeah.
you treat yourself is going to like show on everyone else. So if you're taking care of your thoughts and your feelings and emotions, that means you're taking care of your friends' thoughts and emotions and feelings. And if you're able to, create a good relationship with yourself, then you're able to create a good relationship with someone else. So it's 100% true. Like, you need to take care of yourself. You need to show up for yourself, and you need to like not put yourself fully out there, put too many eggs in too many like one basket, you know? So I
Yeah.
definitely agree. I think this is like overall, I feel like this is one of those things where it's see how you show up and support your friends, don't gossip, and really like figure out the energy you're getting from the conversations you're having. Like, and it's okay if you had a conversation and then you're like, I don't know how I feel about that. And then you went home and journal and you're like, I don't know, I don't like that. Then go and set that boundary. Go set that boundary and say, hey, we talked the other day about this. I don't think, like, honestly, it made me feel uncomfortable. I just want you to know, like, this is not something I want to talk about in the future. And if that person doesn't respect that boundary, then that friendship's not for you. Because when you gossip, it's like, I don't know, it's like sprouting negative mold, like sprouting mold onto your strawberries, right? And then all your strawberries are going to get moldy. You don't want that. You want beautiful garden of strawberries. And so you don't want that moldy strawberry.
Yeah. No, it's so true. I think it's just an important topic. I think it's something that we're all going to have to continuously work on. I don't know that anyone's perfect at it because it's like you have to figure out the line between what you want to talk about, especially like with your spouse or like with my
Mhm.
sister. Like, you have to draw the line of like what you kind of talk about because, like I said, it can negatively affect the other person. It can totally change their, uh, emotion
Perspective.
in that moment and whatever because of what you're giving them, and so just look at what you're feeding out and also what you're taking in. And
Yeah, I love that. Good karma. Like instead of putting out negative vibes, put out the good vibes so you can retain good vibes. Like I think too, our goal should never be talking about someone when they're not in the room. Like, and if I'm talking about someone when they're not in the room, that means that I'm like telling someone, oh, I have plans with them, or I'm telling someone like, hey, we're doing like it has nothing to do with them, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's okay too when you're talking to someone saying, this is how I feel about this situation. But when it becomes like, oh, this person did this and that person, when you start assuming and you're like telling someone about these assumptions, that's like when you're starting to, that's when you're like reaching the level that's like, okay, I'm not actually talking and expressing anymore. I'm at the point where I need to go like take this to myself and do like work on it myself. Like
Yep.
you'll see, like there's a point where you'll know, like you're like, oh, I'm just like spewing out my emotions.
I saw this, I think it was like a TikTok or something, YouTube. I don't know. I watch a lot of journaling videos and girls talking about planners and stuff, nerdy things. And this girl was like, this journal is the tea journal. And she's like, I write everything that I won't say out loud, like about people, about
Mhm.
myself. She's like, I write it all in here. She's like, no one will ever read it except for me. I thought that was so funny. I'm like, no, it's so true. You just need an outlet sometimes. Like you need to get it out of
Yeah,
yourself, of your
there's a
brain and get it somewhere. And even if it's somewhere that no one else will ever hear it
we
or read
teach
it again.
kids we teach kids all the time not to tattletale, right?
Yep.
We're always like, don't tattletale. And what is the equivalent of tattletaling though? It's it's handling your problems. It's not speaking about, instead of going, oh my God, I can't believe Sally stepped on my shoe and made it all dirty. She's so mean. Instead of going to Sally and be like, hey, Sally, I didn't like when you stepped on my shoe, right? It's not expressing your boundaries to someone or being like, hey, like, that wasn't okay. Right? I heard it was a tiki-taki probably, but this teacher, she had a tattletale phone, and so whenever someone tattletaled, instead of going to her, she would say, "Just go to the phone," and she it recorded what they would say, and she would listen to it, and she's like, "This could have just been handled between the two of you. Like, it's not a big deal." But a lot of times, it's
Yeah.
just assuming. Like, your gossiping is your assumptions most of the time. Like,
Yeah.
if you think about it, it's like you're assuming about someone else, or you're like assuming how they're feeling, or you're like, it's you in the moment. It's not them.
Yeah,
But I
it's
mean,
your perspective, and your perspective changes depending on your emotion. Like there's so many factors, but yeah, at the end of the day, just not even talking about other people. And if it's like something where I'm like, oh, my friend also did that, like they're talking about something they're doing, oh, my friend did that. Like I think that's fine to say. It's not
yeah,
like you're saying like, but just like telling other people's business. Yeah,
I think we just have to find a way to fill our conversations with more
yeah,
joy and more like hobbies and more like
yeah,
common interests and things that are not about people.
yeah,
Right. And it's okay to again, it's okay to talk about someone's past successes. Like, oh, I heard my friend, I'm so proud of my friend. She just like ran 2 miles, last month. It's so amazing. But it's not okay to be like, oh my gosh, you guys, my friend's pregnant. No one knows yet. Right. Like, that's not okay. Right.
yeah,
There's a difference. So I think again, it goes back to thinking before speaking.
yeah. Having a little bit of filter. We're all working on it. We're all working on it. Everyone
Yeah.
does it. We're all working on it. But we just thought it would be a great topic because it's really important in relationships and just for our own selves, like mental health.
I think at the end of the day, if you're like, okay, what is one thing I can do? I think it's just thinking before you're speaking. Really taking time to yourself and journaling too. Like, right? When something happens to you, instead of being reactive, which I as a human like nature to be reactive, instead of going and be like, okay, I'm gonna pause this situation, take my little remote, pause, go journal, go listen to a song, go talk to myself in the shower, whatever you do to
Take
work
a
through the
nap.
problem. Yeah, whatever it is to work for the situation. Sometimes you just need a nap and a snack. Let's be real. And say, okay, is there a way I can handle this situation better? Instead of going to like my friend and be like, oh my God, Sally Sue. But we love you
You're like,
all. Oh,
no, I was going to say, you're like, instead of Karen, you're like Sally.
it's always Sally
Sally.
Sue. I don't know why. Sally Sue just rhymes so nicely. Okay?
Yeah. Sorry. That was it. That's all I had to say.
I don't know why. But we love you all. We'll see you every Wednesday. And again, it might not be gossip. Like you might be doing really good with talking good and kindly to your friend. It just might be taking time to think before you speak
Yeah.
and how to fill your relationship with joy
And
and
having
common
boundaries.
interests and hobbies and thing and not like about people and things that are like don't actually matter, but it's okay to be silly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes we like think that things are bigger than they actually are because
Yeah.
of our emotions. So, it is what it is. We're working on it, work
Literally.
in progress.
Literally. Well, we love you all. Hang out with us. We are on all the social medias. We have our own Facebook group where we chit chat in. Like we said, we see you every Wednesday for a podcast episode, and we have a bunch of fun posts that you can come check out. So, bye bye.
Thanks for spending time with us today and being part of our Hermit Haven community.
We hope you enjoyed our cozy chat and are inspired to embrace your inner hermit.
Remember, even in the quiet moments, you're never alone on this journey because we are truly all in this together.
So until next time, stay cozy, stay true to yourself, and keep spreading love wherever you go.
Bye for now.
We'll see you next time.